welcome back to our YouTube channel. I want to talk to you about a fundamentally important principle of Canadian criminal law, and that is the concept of proof beyond a reasonable doubt. Now, what does it mean? Well, first of all, this is probably the second most fundamental principle of importance in Canadian criminal law. The first one being presumption of innocence. You should watch that video, by the way. They're very closely connected and they're very, very similar. I'll call it 1 and 1A. So what does it mean? And I'll give you some examples, and there's a case called Lifchus from the Supreme Court of Canada, which explains it pretty well, but I'm going to give you some examples and talk a little bit about it. So first of all, let's pretend it's not a criminal case, but it's a civil lawsuit in Canada. Well, in a civil lawsuit, the burden is on the plaintiff to prove to a balance of probability. In other words, more likely than not, the defendant caused an injury, for example, or is liable for this lawsuit. So the scales of justice are like this in a civil suit. Well, the plaintiff just has to tip it a little bit down. Oh, better than 50%, more likely than not. That isn't even close to the criminal burden. In a criminal case, the Crown Attorney has to tip the scales all the way down beyond a reasonable doubt. Now, that's a very heavy and powerful burden. Now, it's not to a mathematical certainty or a moral absolute certainty. I mean, that would be, crazy to have proof of that. But I can tell you this, the case law says this: proof beyond a reasonable doubt is far closer to mathematical certainty, in other words, all the way down to the bottom, than it is to probability. Far closer. It's approaching it. It gets there. Now, we're not talking about just mere speculative, jurors sitting there conjuring up some reasonable doubts that don't exist. So it's real reasonable doubts. There's no question about that. And this is a very powerful thing. I mean, we talk in Canada about the importance of presumption of innocence, and you never want to convict an innocent person. Better to have 1,000 guilty people go free to convict one innocent person. And this is why we have these principles here. We don't live in Russia where they have show trials or a communist country where we have these fundamental principles, and it's so important. So, jurors, it's such a powerful thing to tell a jury. We can tell a jury about reasonable doubt, and that if there's any lingering reasonable doubt, they have to acquit. And this is why we can win so many criminal trials. And people don't like that. A lot of people will comment and say, "Oh, this is crazy. We're letting guilty people go free." Well, the thing is, we're not convicting innocent people. That's the key. That is the absolute key, and that's the importance of these two fundamental principles: presumption of innocence and the burden on the Crown to prove a case beyond a reasonable doubt, pushing those scales almost all the way down, far closer to moral or absolute or mathematical certainty than that lawsuit here in the middle. Okay, well, there you have it, a little primer on proof beyond a reasonable doubt. Thank you for watching our video. We are absolutely committed to bringing you the best possible criminal and DUI educational videos. If you found this video helpful, please like it and subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you've been charged with a criminal offense in Ontario and require our services, please click on the link in the description below.